Alright, let's jump into some expeditions. Night King is still feasting, I see. Good, good. Oh, let's put in some G-codes right off the rip, because we're going to be pushing through these pretty fast, I think. I'm going to try and get a reset so we're doing whole expeditions again.
Sometimes I think I miss it out there.
Make sure I'm recording. I am indeed. We have an Astaka today as well. I will read it. We will answer it together. That's a double blade if I've ever seen it. Okay. Astaka. Hey, Dak, I love the content, and especially when you're interacting with the little booms. I'm going to have my first this coming spring. Any tips you found useful? I'm going to have my first this You're going to have your own kid. Congratulations. That's awesome. I can try to give you some stuff I found useful for myself. I'm going to... I'm trying to think. What were some things... Most of the tips I got were real doom and gloom. Not super doom and gloom, but the first tip I ever got, went unsolicited, by the way, because that's always the way it goes, is, oh, you know, when I announced the immediate response when anyone found out, you know, we were going to have our first, where I worked. I love this color scheme. This looks really... Let me just go up high. It looks like a kid's kind of like playset, doesn't it, a little bit? Is that... Wait, wow. What is this? This is supposed to be something? Looks like it's intended to be something. Is it just like an abstract art piece? Like you can see my shadow there. That's cool. Good touch. Yeah, when people at my work found out we were having one, it was like, oh, get ready to be tired. You know, you're not going to get any sleep. Rest up now. And it's like, okay, you know, like, that's cool, but like, what's the good stuff? And so I will do you a service that was not touched for me, and that's that I'll hit up the warnings first, but then I'm going to tell you about all the cool stuff on the back end, because there's a lot, and that was not as known to me. So right off the rip, the things that people told me are like, hey, get ready to lose a lot of sleep. You're not going to be sleeping a lot. I wanted to jump after that one, but I was afraid I'd get popped. Let's do this. Where's the chains at? Up here? Ah, okay. It's kind of a cool... Don't know. Oh, wow. This is a cool base. Holy sh... You will lose... a lot, not a lot of sleep, but you'll be tired here and there. I'll tell you something though, you get used to it really fast, and it is aware a little bit. How do I put this? This is tough, man, because I do want to say the things that are true, but also not freak you out. That is where I'm having difficulty, and when I'm saying it in my head. It sounds like it would be something like, oh shit, that's, you know, everything sounds worse, than it's actually going to be. That's the truth of it. You know, you hope your kid is happy and healthy, and that's it. That's where it ends, for me at least. If they're happy and they're healthy, I don't give a shit. That's my job in my own head, is to make sure that they are both those things and protected, and until they can protect themselves. And so all you should care about is that they're happy and healthy, and that, you know, early on the early stages for me sucked. I hated babies. Babies suck. They're not fun for me. But there's several factors in that. One, I think they might not suck now. I think I was a young guy, and I was a selfish guy, and so babies were like the bane of my existence, because they were taking up my time and energy and attention and all of that. That's where you are. This is a hard one to do it, so I do apologize. This is kind of like a lot. I don't have long hallways to like think about stuff. I'm constantly resetting in my own head. It's cool though. Like, I love this map. It is really neat. So that was hard for me. And there's also a strain in the relationship. You know, my wife and I are really good to go. We have been. I've always been careful with that stuff. my initial plan for like getting together was like a 5-year plan, which was you date for 3, and then if that's cool, you move in together for 2 years, and if 2 years moving in together is cool, then I think you're starting off on the right foot. I do not recommend anyone wait until they're married or have kids to move in if they're serious. I really don't. That's me personally. I think there's a lot of stuff you don't see about people when they're, you know, in your everyday, and everyday stuff will wear on you too, you know, that you don't know about. Things that you think are cool or funny, you know, might not be. It wasn't the case for me, but, you know, it definitely can be. Okay, so he's not homing. So that can be tough. The early years are really kind of the rougher ones, and it's because you're learning. You're not as familiar or comfortable. You're a little bit scared about, you know, am I doing this right? Is the kid okay? Etc. That wears on you. It's really the sleep doesn't matter so much for that. That's interesting. From the like, oh, you're a little bit tired. It kind of insidiously makes you not. When you're tired, you don't make good choices, or you're ornery or grumpy, and 2 grumpy people who aren't getting sleep, you know, that's tough. So, but it is very temporary. It goes away very quick. That's a non-issue for me. Granted, I will say I get up early anyways, but that sucks more, I would argue. Because if you already get up early enough, like getting up in the middle of the night is like killer. So I get up at like 4:30 a.m. most days. So getting me up at like 1, I've gotten like an hour of sleep. That and you know, a week of that, I mean, that people use that for torture. No joke. So I know that I am, Harvey, goodbye. Saying that, hey, don't let him, you know, freak you out. That's the boilerplate I'm letting you know about. So as long as they're happy, healthy, born, you're going to be fine. It's going to come together. Having some family nearby is good, for sure. I know the importance of that. Most of my family's kind of out of town. So, my wife's family is very close by, and, that has helped tremendously. Having good relationships with them. That's not something you really, can predict, but you know, if you can find someone that you're close to that you can trust, that just to occasionally kind of give you some backup is a huge buffer. Okay, so that's the boilerplate warnings out of the way. The cool stuff is, first of all, never ending and constantly growing. You really, for me, it allowed me to be a better person. I was kind of, like I said, a selfish person. Not like, you know, sociopathic or anything like that, but I just was concerned about my shit, not other people's. I would say that's most young guys, but maybe not. Again, I'm putting myself onto other people, and that you don't want to do that, because this is such a cool map. I am going to get out of here because I want to talk about this stuff a little more, but I do like it. I think it's cool. I think you did a really good job on that. Yeah, it's just zany, dude. That's really good, man. That's this and this for sure. It's really cool when you click in and it starts making sense. You start looking out for other people. You start kind of realizing the bigger picture stuff. You start planning for their needs, you know? And as someone who maybe you've heard in other videos, I don't know how far back you've been watching, you know, I didn't care early on. I had no plans for the future. I was doing so poorly in school that I was like, I don't fucking care, you know? And, so going from someone who did not care about the future at all to caring deeply for it, it's kind of an interesting switch, and I really like what it's done for me. It's kind of, I think that's a catalyst for me in becoming a better person, personally. I think there were a lot of other factors involving a lot of good people around me and just kind of them wearing off on me. But ultimately... Which one? Oh, bolts behind. That's good. I was going to say, no way one of these guys got me. I thought I got out in time. It's definitely made me a better person. I think it'll make you a better person if it clicks in. Kids are also extremely fun when they start getting their kind of personalities. There's like... Oh! There he is. He's up there. Okay. And you are here. Okay. Uh-oh. What's he shooting at? Huh. So, the tips were the warnings for, you know, yeah, prepare that the sleep is affected, and really that it might wear on the relationship. You know, that's why you really have to have a strong foundation to begin with, I think. Again, I am no expert at all, so take these all with a grain of salt, and it might be a completely different experience for you as well. All of my friends that I've consulted and we've talked to and I'm close with, all of them have, you know, been like, oh yeah, there's been like times where we've talked like, is this separation worthy? And it's cool that they do. I'm lucky. I have friends that talk about their shit, you know, so I'm kind of like, okay, so this is, it just, even good relationships will get worn down because it's a much harder situation earlier on, but it gets easier and easier. And as they start growing up, they start getting like personalities, you know, you'll notice things like, you know, their first opinion where they're like, well, you know, you feed them for a long time. They're eating this is what we have. And then one day they're like, I prefer bananas. And you're like, what? Since when are you preferring things, you know? And then they start having their own ideas and likes and hobbies, which I think is super cool. You know, both my boys like different things. That's a neat, they're becoming human beings, and that process is so cool. That I can't really even put into words, but it's just fun. And I think, you know, they'll wear on you, but anyone will. And I think if you can appreciate kind of the cool stuff about them and find things that you guys can do together as they grow up. Wait, I gotta give you tips for like babies, right? God, you know, I really don't remember much, so I'm gonna move on. Sorry, man. You know, it was, the baby thing was kind of like a, oh yeah, I love that this gives me like warning signs for these. Just this one? Is that bombs? What is this? Okay. I can get, and you know, it's weird, your memory starts fading. I mean, obviously mine's real bad, but you do start forgetting the bad parts of things, which is nice. That's a good thing. I think that's probably intentional. Maybe? Oh, that would have been cool to get that one. That guy's launching that in there for sure. What's here? Alright. Not a good spot to be in. Oh shit, don't want to be in bombs. Oh, shotgunner. Oh, no way. Oh, what? I never saw him. Was he just running around? Damn, I would have gotten him for sure over that. Damn. Yeah, you're gonna see a cool, they become a human. And they watch you. They watch you all the time. Every little thing you do, they copy it. You don't think certain things matter, they pick it up. Even the way you laugh. We have this funny like thing in our house that we do now. Well, we have several things. One, I regret the day I ever said fart flap. It was like a funny word I just did. Oh my god, fart flap gets brought up every goddamn day. That was like 2 years ago. And they won't let it drop. Probably because I'm like rolling my eyes now and it's kind of like oh, this tortures dad. But you know, they wanted to name the dog Fart Flap. They, you know, you have these funny things within your family that, you know, just kind of take on a life of their own, and it's a blast. But the way we also do this, like, if we're all just sitting around and, you know, we're bored, because at least one of my boys has the level of ADD that I do. I think they both do to some degree, but one of them has it, I think, a little more significantly. And I won't say who in case they ever get old enough to watch this and they are fighting about it. But we'll be sitting around and I'll do this hew, 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 and they'll do hoy, hoy, hoy. We'll do it back and forth so much that we'll end up like dying from it. And Bridge is just like, what the hell is going on? But it's those moments, you know, if you enjoy being around them and you create little things with them, suddenly they're like your good buddies. And it's such a cool thing. It's indescribable. It really is. And so in some ways I think I really thought I'd hit him before that. All right, we're bringing in the big guns, boys. You know, we do that, but they how you laugh? There's like a way I laugh, and that's been absorbed by them. It's just an interesting thing. You don't, you know, those micro things. But again, all of us, I just was coming in here like I had already done this. All right, let me get you. Like that. And then, oh shit, that laser's gonna. I was gonna say that was gonna be close. Where I left off. Them watching you. Everything. You do, your mannerisms, the words you choose, because they take it as how they're supposed to be. And in a way, we're all like that, even in adulthood. I want to get those bolts. You know, I'm a collection of everyone I've ever met, in a way. My parents, my friends, my siblings, the things they do, like things I've been exposed to. In some ways, in a very weird way, but I think in a true way, you're kind of seeing in me everyone I've ever met in my life. Because all the stuff I liked, even some of the stuff I don't like bad habits, I picked up from other people. You know, you know, unless you're Mowgli out in the jungle, you've picked up things from people you've met along the way. And oftentimes the things you like, you know, you imitate the things you like, or the things you think are good. They aren't always. And you become that. And so I'm kind of an amalgam of everyone I've ever met. And in a way, you've met everyone I've ever met by just, you know, seeing me and talking to me. It's not an accurate representation of everyone, but, you know, I didn't learn all these words on my own. I'm speaking because someone taught them to me. They're just sounds that, oh, I cannot believe I missed him, dude. That sucked. And then that bolt, yeah. And then this guy's got to go. And then you're next. You shoot over, though, I think. Right? Yeah. Come on, dude. Don't make this difficult. You got to die, all right? It's time. I thought about that with, because in a way, I think my ability to listen, I wasn't a good listener. Like, not, I mean, obviously in general, I was a bad listener because I did terribly in school, but, you know, I learned that from my roommate, in college. He never judged anybody. It was a very weird thing. And that threw me off because I was from a place where, like, you really didn't, not, my family's really good, but, like, the place I grew up around, like, you just, I don't know, that wasn't a commonplace thing where people were just like, oh, cool, you know, you'd be talking and there was no judgment at all. It was a weird thing, and it caught me off guard because I found that, you know, I was, like, telling him stuff that I'd be saying, I'm like, why the hell am I telling him this shit? And it's because he was non-judgmental. You could tell him anything. He'd be like, oh, all right, I think I can see where that's coming from. And it's a really powerful skill. I would recommend to anyone. That being said, kids will do the same for what you provide for them. And when you're an adult, you can kind of pick and choose and say, oh, this works. This is good. You know, I took that from Chris. I attribute that to him. I was like, it's like these bases, you know, you go in, you find your best stuff, you take it back home with you, and then you make it your own. And I made that my own, and that's the origin. That was the base I got it from. And you get to choose as an adult what things you like, but as a kid, it's, you know, you just get a few bases, and you try your best to pull from that. So if you can provide them a really good base to kind of learn from, they'll have a pretty good starting, starting block. Starting look position. There we go. And you sound like you care. My dad, I think the one thing he said that really stuck with me as a piece of advice for kids and raising them is he's like, as long as you have their best interest in heart and you love them and everything you do is for them, not for you, that sounds like you give everything to them. He more meant like every choice you make is in their best interest and you love them. That was his thing. You do those two things, you're going to be okay. You're going to make mistakes. You are. I know I'm going to. I know I have. And he did, but they were so, and he's right. They were so minor. Oh, this is bad. Oh yeah, I had to get out of there. I'd be dead. You know, I can count on like a hand, maybe two fingers, maybe some like a mistake he made, and it wasn't even bad, you know, like comparatively. So you're going to, and he's right. I am the product of that advice he gave. I am the son of that father, and he's absolutely right. He always was like, you know, you're gonna make some mistakes. I know I am. I make mistakes all the time. But I have taken that with me, and I would recommend that be maybe something to start with. Is just like, as long as you're doing it in their best interest, even if they think it's weird or they don't understand it at the time, or you know they disagree. If you're taking a step back and you're like, are you doing this because you want control, or you want, you know, it's for you? You need to rethink that maybe. But if you're like, no, this is in their best interest, and you really believe that, then I think you're going to be okay. Because ultimately, it's not always the deeds, it's the motive, you know, I think. And if your motive is like, I just want you to be good and happy and healthy, I think you're going to be fine. I don't think you can really screw that up. Someone really sadly said once at one of those motivational, I have to go to those every year or so. So goddamn annoying. I think it is every year. Every year before we start our job, there's like a motivational speaker that comes in. And I remember one of them, and he's right, sadly, I think statistically. He's like, you know, people worry about if they're a bad father or not. Or mother, by the way. This applies to both. Sorry, I'm assuming that you're... Because it's a long time since I've checked the metrics on this channel, but I think I was something like 99.4% male, so I'm just going on that. Shoot, I gotta move past the... Ooh, yeah, he's too far away, though, to do any damage, I think. Hold still, you. He's like... Oh, damn, it sucks. Oh, that was my last one, too, huh? Wow, alright. Is he moving around? What's his deal? Yes. He's like, if you're present, you're already better than quite a bit of fathers. Which you're like, well, that's a low bar. Statistically, he's right. No one should just be like, well, I'm here, you know? But it is a balancing act, and you'll find... I'm going to be going on tangents a lot. I'm sure you're used to it. I'm sure you guys are smart enough to extract the good stuff from me just, like, going off on trails. But really, it comes down to the early years for me are rough. I didn't enjoy them. I still tell people I don't, to give them fair warning. But I also think, truly, that has a lot to do with me just kind of being a selfish dude. Not really understanding stuff. Being new to it, you know, because the second time around, it's easier, you know. And that it gets better each year. And the sleep thing, while it is tough, both on you, probably your job, some friendships, some marriage, you know, stuff associated with that, it does get easier. You do trade in different problems for new problems, but as long as you're willing to keep kind of learning and understanding it. I'm getting a rush down here. I can hear it. Oh, shoot. This is going to be... He's painted, so that's good, but I gotta... This is... Oh, man. What are these sentinels? What do you gotta... You gotta get out of here. Go to, like... Oh, man. This is gonna be... I should have brought a bubble. Instead, I did not think this was a bubble one. Well, where are they most likely to rush down here? But then they return if they're on a patrol. Unless he just puts them right there. What's the lead? It's probably here. Oh, man. This is gonna be rough, I think. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Doing that preemptively? What's your story? Ah. Okay, this is my new safety zone. Cool. Now I have something on my back. I like that. Taking his pants as well. You know, account for that. It isn't all sunshine, lollipops, of course, and people who think that will be rudely awakened. But it's not nearly as bad as... I think people just remember... You do forget a lot of, like, the things that were like, oh, rough. Like I said, I can't really remember the baby face. I just remember I really did not like it. And it had a lot more to do with it was disrupting my routine. And my routines are pretty important to me. for obvious reasons. Things get messed up because I just drift so easily that I need rules, basically. So, you know, when you're like, all right, hey, the rules are changing overnight, it's an adjustment. But, you know, if you care enough, and that's eventually where I got to personally, you are failing. If you want your family to succeed and you want to succeed, you're going to have to change. That's just what it is. You're going to have to get better. And it was like, what do you want? Do you want to be a selfish butthole and just do the guy thing, you know, that you've been doing? Or how important is your family to you? And the answer was, it's very important. That's how I was raised, and that's something I learned from my own folks. So there you go. You know, my dad and mom doing that the way they did made me, I think, go, yeah, I think I do want this. Maybe if they were bummers and they sucked, I'd be like, nah, I'm not doing that. My parents didn't. I turned out fine, you know? And you're like, well, did you though? Oh, there's more here than meets the eye. Okay. Any more? So, you know, if you guys, you know, you and your girlfriend or missus or, you know, okay, let me get out of here, are in a good place, just, you know, be prepared for some changes. But a lot of cool stuff happens. And when you try to do those, I think, 2 rules, which are always love them, let them know that they're loved, and then always look out for their best interests. You know, I think that's like, isn't that just being a parent 101? I mean, I know my buddies are like, hell no, dude, not mine. In some cases, you know, there's some rough ones. I think though those guys would agree that it should have been that way, but wasn't. And I'm right there with them. I think I agree. But I think as long as the fact that you're asking, you know, another dad, like, hey, you know, you got anything good? I think that's already indicative that you're someone who gives a shit. And I think right off the rip, you're like ahead of the game in a big way. Because it does get cooler. They become your buddies. For me, at least. They had some good stuff in there. I know it was, that was good. That was brutal and ingenious, I think. And the different personalities are funny because they're like fractured shards of you. They're like pieces of you amplified, you know? I have one who's like, he wants to know everything. That's his thing. He just is like, I want to understand. And that curiosity I got from my dad, definitely. He just, you know, he taught physics, but before that he was a geologist. And so just learning about stuff and how they work and all that it was something I think I picked up from him, maybe. That's my guess. I don't think that's inherent, but maybe it is. I don't know. You know, maybe just certain people are curious by nature. But my other one is more like he just goes after it. You know, one is like, let me understand. The other one's like, let me experience. You know, and it's so weird. It's like pieces of you are pulled out and then molded into a small child out of clay, and then they develop their own. And then it's like you hit start, and then they just go from that point. You know, and it's just really, it's a fascinating thing, and it's a cool thing. It feels great. I will say sports and shit suck for me. I loved playing sports. It's the I hit it too. Dang, really good. That was good as hell. That was really good, dude. Going to him. That is. I'm sorry. And you know what? If you love watching that kind of stuff, good for you. But me watching Little League, it's I do it for them. Absolutely. Oh, that is a good tile for that. Look at that. You're looking up too. This opening is what made this happen because you're doing this, and then by the time you're here, this is nothing. This is a great setup. That's something to remember. You'd think I'd get it from there, but I thought it was something coming down from here. Well done. The Little League games for now are very... There's no time limit. You forget that, right? There's no time limit in baseball. Nope. So that was something I forgot, and I played baseball for many years. Many years. Really big in my town. Pretty much all the kids had to play. That was a big thing for us. And I enjoyed it. Well, probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as like hockey if I had known about it, but those are rough. That's that's down the road, and you know what? You might love it. So, but it's like we're gonna give him 8 more tries to hit off this T, and then it's like you got 7 more kids doing the same. You're like, I can't sit for this much longer. But that's like that's a joke kind of problem. It's not a real problem. I'm just being a shit. There's a lot of good though, and I think if you stick with it, and oh, this is a problem. Oh, from behind? Oh, you big dum-dum. But I should be okay now. Someone just got shot. Bye. Oh, did they get roasted? I think so. I'm not going back there. This is a good one. It's brutal. Oh, I just wanted my stuff back. You're fine, sir. I'm just... We doing this? Be hilarious if you got me with another bounce pad. None of that. Huh. Okay. He's protecting the pockets. Yeah, okay. I like that. Maybe sword users. This is cool. It's weird. If he's lower level, I'm telling you right now, this guy's gonna be a killer. Once he gets more setups and experience under his belt, I'm calling it. I know it seems like he's smashing in here, and he is, but he's also covering his angles, which isn't... He wants to get ya, so he'll keep doing that until he learns, I bet. Yeah. Oh my... How many things did I blow up with that? I can use my grenades. Probably should, though. There you go. Have one of those. Pretty sure one of my challenges is use hardware, too, so... There you go. Boom. That's 5 off the table. But I'm really excited for you. It's a really cool time. It can be hard, certainly, but it is very rewarding. And I think it continues to become more rewarding as time goes on. It also kind of gives you a side purpose. I mean, like I said, I never really look forward to the future. It was fine. Like I wasn't worried about it. That was this and this, I think. And having kids kind of just, I don't know. It kind of, maybe it changes the chemistry in your brain. I don't know. I don't want to like be like it wasn't. I'm not take any credit. I definitely tried for sure, but it makes you see the big picture. I think sometimes I never thought about the big picture at all. So that's why I'm aware of it now. Like that I'm doing it because I never thought like this before. And I think that again is the kid snail. Yes. Cool. And it's a good feeling. And when you start doing that, I think you start realizing it's just a good thing overall and everyone benefits. And, once you're a parent, there was a line, I think it was, once you're a father, you kind of become a father to all kids. And for me, that's absolutely true. Like, if I see a kid, I'm going to make sure they're good to go. Like, that's just what it is. And it's not I don't know. It's not like it's impossible for you to not think about what it would be like for another kid or another parent. I think, if like your kid's doing okay and some other kid's getting neglected by someone who just is not in the right place for it or whatever, you gotta help that kid. That's just what it is. And it isn't, you should try. It's you need to do it. We all benefit from it. That kid is going to be an adult one day in the adult world with you. Maybe you're going to be in like a nursing home, And I'm not saying you do this for your own self-interest. I'm just saying it benefits all. You're in a nursing home and they're an adult and someone neglected them and didn't treat them well and brought them into the world without, any plans of supporting them at all and just saying, hey, good luck, kid. That very rarely works out, and that kid will be an adult. This is a cool-ass room, dude. Yeah. Yep, that was the right call. And I'm going to get both now, I think. Is that a bouncer? No. Whoa. This is some serious verticality. I like this. This is very cool. It's really hard to cover everything, though, too. Oh, you... Thank God I got the grapple out. Time for that. He did it again. What is the matter with me? Oh, I tried to blow that up too. I can't believe I did the same thing twice. I can. That's totally my MO, but it's funny to see it in real time. I did it again! Am I, like, programmed to just... I gotta figure this one out, guys. I'm sorry. Hang on. I have to. What am I... Oh, it's right there. Oh, the really nice purchase here to look at stuff. Okay. Very well done, dude. Love that. Now everything goes boom boom. Including Harvey. I think it can be a really terrible time if that's how you see it. And I think it can be a very rewarding time if you see it that way. I think you'll have to adjust certain things if you are in a certain way. I would suspect I was a little bit further behind many other people in terms of, like, how I viewed the world and probably empathy and a bunch of other shit. So you might be in a better spot than I was, and I mean that genuinely. This is so cool. This map looks so cool. Oh my god, it's Snail. I don't know, because I'm in an expedition. I totally forgot that that this is someone we kind of... It's someone we know. That blew up... Oh, okay. Snail, this is awesome, dude. You've hacked my brain and made me almost die the same way 3 times, which is funny. Snail actually just submitted a new... Well, not a new. He reposted a raceway that I lost. I think it was his... I'm pretty sure it was his map and GG Genetic Semi's Snail map that will release to yesterday, because this will release 2 days from now, I think. Or maybe today. No, yeah, it'll be today at 5. And I recorded them, but I didn't switch the OBS to, like, game capture to, like, the different screen. I was, like, swapping around. I was playing, I think it was Starship Troopers at the time. And so I only got the audio for it. That one sucked, because I've done ones where I accidentally didn't record the audio, like the settings were messed up. But I had the visuals, so I just talked over it. This one I couldn't do anything, and it was 3 maps. And I very stupidly tried to, like, do a bunch all at once to, like, knock it out. Because I had some free time, and I just totally burned, like, 3 videos. I don't remember what the third one was, but there was a third. But yeah, having some support group nearby is really nice. You're gonna need that. You should definitely make sure you prioritize your time for you too. That was if I could say I made a very singular mistake, it was, and I was actually cautioned by my wife, who was like, you know, just we should make sure we're also good and, like, going on dates and stuff, and because eventually the kids move out and then it's you two, you know, and if your whole life has been them, it's gonna be, you know, you're gonna have a hard transition, I think, a little bit. And I'm someone who, like, doesn't need to do a lot of anything. Like, it's really easy for me to be content with very little, and I don't know if that's because the punishments along the way of growing up were mostly, like, take it away from him, but now I almost don't need anything to be, in a way, they've trained me to be, like, a super happy guy with very little. And, you know, that's kind of what I talk about with the silver lining. Was it worth the expenditure of, like, what took place to get to that? That was amazing, dude. Snail, I'm so happy that you showed up in the expedition rotation. You're gonna love this. I'm so happy that it took me all the way up until here to be like, wait, this is Snail again, even though I saw it. Oh, where's that one at? What the hell? Oh, okay. So I don't need a lot, and that's dangerous. Because of that, you know, people around me can start to kind of be like, hey, I'd like to do some stuff. I need some stuff. I know you don't. And you know, because I don't need it, I don't think about it. And that is something, make sure you're applying that. Am I doing this because I love him or her? And am I doing it because it's in their best interest? Apply that to your significant other as well. I would say that. I was kind of like, hey, we both agree, right? It's kids first. Like, that's... We brought them in. That was our responsibility. We chose that, not them. I'm of a very... That's a good one. Damn, Snail. Snail's crazy, dude. I forgot my train of thought. That was so good. Damn it. Ooh. Let me get you, though. Okay, you gotta go with a boom. Homing? If you... Actually, that does fine. Never mind. I was gonna say, if you put the homing thing on, a lot of people don't know this. It doesn't arc with the homing. It goes straight in. So if you're trying to, like, thread a needle, because there's always a little arc on their shots, the baseline, just keep that in mind. Ah. This is a real good map, dude. Yeah, I know. Okay. Run. Ooh, assassin died. All right. I'm of the mind that kids don't owe you shit. They don't owe you anything. You brought them in. You took that responsibility on yourself. There's none of this like you owe me shit ever. My parents have never done that to me. However, I feel I owe them. You know, it's a weird thing. Like, at no point were they like, hey, you know, when you do whatever, we expect this from you. You know, we brought you into this world. Never, ever. They were supportive people. They taught me that, and I'm going to teach my kids that, you know, I'm here to support. In doing so, you know, something cool happens where I do feel like I owe my parents, like, heavily as a result, and I do almost anything for them, you know. They deserve it. And, but that is a long bomb, dude. That is cool as hell. Damn, this is fun. What is the name of this map? Cottonwood Falls. This is cool. That's my personal opinion on that. That doesn't need to be, obviously, yours, but I think you choose to bring them in. They're your responsibility. And this world is going to go a different way if, you know, we don't have that mentality, I think. Because you're going to have a lot of people who are like, I didn't ask to be born. And none of us did, obviously. It's not like you get a, you know, questionnaire from wherever we come from, and they're like, do you want to jump? Maybe you do. That would be a good USO joke. Where they, like, are rewinding my life, and they're like, remember when you said you didn't have a choice? And here you are. I'm like, you did? And I was like, oh, well. But yeah, you know, treat them that way. Treat your spouse that way. Treat yourself that way. And try your best to do it for everyone else, too. That helps, I think. You'll find the world gets a lot cooler when you do that. I say that as someone who used to, you know, like I said, live more selfishly. And that's a hell of an angle. Life just gets a lot cooler, I would say, personally. There's a better way to do it, and I'm sure you're already doing it. I'm saying that more as, like, for anyone who may have been more like me in your shoes. But ultimately, you know, it comes down to, like, do you care? Do you want them to succeed? Do you want them to do well? And if the answer is yes, I think there is kind of a clear way to go about it. But every family's different, too, you know, and every culture is different. And, oh, shit. I might not get... Oh, yeah. Not clearing that lip was a problem. This is some ingenious stuff, Snail. For real. I almost said no cap and really dated myself as someone who shouldn't be... What the hell was that going to launch me into, I wonder? Not going to find out. But congratulations. You're in for a really exciting time. A really fun time. It's going to be harder than things you're used to. Oh, damn it. I went backwards. You got to be kidding me. Especially if you're someone like me who just makes the same mistakes over and over and again. I have I have the right intentions, but you know, hey. I think that's what it comes down to. And they will take things from you that they like, and they might take some things from you that you don't like about yourself. because they think that's just how it is. And I think it's our responsibility to try and make sure that they take the good stuff, most of the good stuff, and less of the bad. But you got a cool time ahead, dude, and I'm excited for you. And it's just it's a unique experience. You know, it's not for everyone, and there are people out there who are like, you know, kids aren't for me, and every time they say that, I'm like, I think that's really cool that you know that, because there are people who kids aren't for, and they either feel pressured by their family or they feel like it's what they should do, even though they're like, I really don't want to. And that's how you end up with people that maybe are resentful on both ends, the kids and the parents. And so when someone can recognize that, I'm always right away like, that's really cool. I knew for a long time, I always knew I wanted kids. And I think it's because I had a pretty good time growing up, you know, despite all the weird stuff from schools. You know, my fam they were great. And that's a testament to how powerful that is too. You know, you can have a kid that like really does poorly in school and behaviorally, and really it still ends up okay, because at the end of the day I never felt like I got, you know, I think I've mentioned it before. I've talked to like friends of mine whose wives were teachers or they are teachers, and some of the stories they're like infuriated by that like took place for me, like how they handled certain things. They're like, that's disgusting, I cannot believe that. And it's like, yeah, well, they didn't know better at the time, you know. I'm not too salty about it. And they're like, you really should be. And I'm like, well, I understand, and but there is a certain point where you're like, what, you know, you can't do much about it. And that's not to say that you shouldn't try and stop it. Everything that ever happened to me, there's zero chance I'm gonna let that shit happen to my kids. That's the thing you're doing as a parent. That's important, I think. And I really, you know, someone asked me what the you know, what like childhood hero or whatever I had. I never really had like a real living one. Like I had some weird ones like Conan the Barbarian and some other stuff. I thought they were cool. But really my I think genuinely my heroes, the people I look up to and I think are extremely important and I admire to a great deal, are the cycle breakers. I think if you came from a bad situation and you turned it around and you're like trying to provide a better life for your kid, I think you are actually like an S-tier human being, because by all rights you should be repeating the mistakes of your parents. It takes some extra shit to be like, this is what I was raised on, this is all I know, this is all I'm good at, and I hate it, and I will do whatever I can to try and do something different. So you're going in blind with no experience and no one to model your behavior after, and yet here you are trying to make a better life because you're like, I just don't want it for my kids. And I didn't have an abusive one, I just had like a bad school situation, you know. Mine I find is very minor compared to others, and while I'm saying that you shouldn't do that yourself, don't. One of my buddies who's been in real bad shit is always like, dude, it isn't a magnitude thing, you know. If you had some stuff, it's no worse than mine or yours. It's, you know. And I'm like, well, I don't really. It's hard for me to like agree with you there when I've heard about all the stuff you've been through. But to his point, if you do that, you'll never change it, because you're like, you know, there's real stuff going on. You're like, yeah, but you can improve. Any improvement is net positive. Do it. And so if you had a rough upbringing and you are trying to make a better life for your kid, that's it. You're like, you're hero status to me, because that's hard. People don't get that shit, and people don't always see that as like a heroic thing. I do, because I see how it affects the bigger picture. And if you see it too, I'm on your side, and I'm an ally of yours. And, you know, whatever you need to do. If someone's trying to do that and I'm aware of it, I help every time. Because you got it. You know, what are we all doing here if we're just fucking around, not improving? You know, are we just spinning our tires here? Who cares? Like, you might as well just go live on an island and just be selfish. And you can, if that's your jam. But if you're trying to make things better for other people, I think that's what you need to do. So if there's things you have that you're like, I have very little. I was very lucky. My folks are really good people. Their mistakes were very minor. I learned from them, though, and I won't repeat certain things that I found. But again, their mistakes were, I almost, you could almost say they weren't because they're so minor. But I'm going to make sure that I don't do it because it wasn't something they did on purpose. It was just something that, they were taught, and they were phenomenal people. I mean, just so that's what I want to do. I don't want it for any accolades. My parents didn't either. They just wanted to do what was right. And that was important to them. And, surprise, surprise, now it's important to me, even someone who kind of was selfish. So, yeah. How do I condense that? Man, these are hard. I always feel like I'm tirading and getting on a soapbox, and then I'm, you're not helping anyone because it's so, like, disjointed and, like, goes off on trails. So I try and condense it and summarize. But the big things I found were that thing my dad said, which is just look out for the best interests, always love them, and I think you'll pretty much be good to go with whatever lifestyle you got. Unless you're really, really messed up from a really bad thing, then you got to be careful because your norm and what you think is like love might not be what that is, I'm not a professional. I should have started with that. By the way, don't take any of this as like, I know you won't, but I'm just worried that someone, will be like, yeah, let me write that down. And then, the same thing doesn't apply to everyone. I think that's why it's hard for those, like, there's basics, and I do like more broad stuff where it is like, just love them and, look out for them. But, there's different lives out there, and there are lives that are so difficult that there's no time for that. I would argue that maybe you shouldn't have kids if, times are that difficult that you can't put that time and care into, but there are places in the world that are just harder. And, you don't have time to think about the philosophy or whatever you're trying to survive. And I recognize that. So everyone's kind of thing is their own. But hopefully I didn't make it too weird for you and ruin it. It's a really fun time. I'm loving it. I didn't early on. I wanted it always, but early on I was like, this is rough. The baby phase. And everyone's like, the baby's the best part. And I'm like, you guys are fucking insane, dude. It poops and pees. It doesn't talk to you. They're very cute, and they're awesome when they sleep. You'll find you're just staring at them like, oh man, they're great. I hope they never, can they just stay like this? But it that was a me experience, and I do think heavily it has to do with who I was as a person at the time. And for a selfish younger dude, I won't say young, that was like a, man, this guy's pooping on my party, both figuratively and literally. I adjusted the sails though, and once I kind of adjusted and went, hey, do you want this to fail? No. Well then, adjust. Do what you do. And luckily I was able to, and that's in part due to the people I've met who've helped me with that stuff along the way. But that's pretty fun. Yeah. So take time for yourself. Take time for your spouse. Make sure that you're doing that for them. You're doing it for you. That your motives are always for the, the betterment of your family, and then by extension, maybe your community and your buddies and your friends around you. Make sure you use that support if you're down, or find someone you can talk to. I'm lucky that I've got some buddies who are like, oh yeah, there's been a couple times where we've come close to divorce. I'm like, okay, because Bridge and I have talked about that, and I've asked her, so don't worry. Like, hey, is that something, you're cool with me sharing? And she's like, yeah, I think more people should talk about the difficulties. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. It isn't. We have a really good relationship, and it just wears, and you have to keep growing in order to kind of fit into the new slots. I didn't mean to start a new one. I was going to end it there. Shoot. Well, we'll do this quick. So it's cool. That's again, I think what's going on with oh, that's right there. Okay. Oh dang, ammo sink. All right. In case I need to use that on the way out. Bouncer. Oh shit, up I. Oh, that isn't gonna work for you, is it? Aha. Now we. No. Now we drop bombs, baby. We drop bombs. Oh, you idiot. You idiot, dude. Oh, you idiot. Hey, wait, I gotta. Did I throw it? Oh, no, I threw it right next to him. Shit. Okay. Very poor. You'll make mistakes like that, too. That's part of the... That's part of learning. Now I don't have a... And I don't have a fucking Phoenix pod because of the stupid mistake. Oh, that's really frustrating. Well, that's why you should double check. In the moment, I was just... That bugs me. Really does. Alright, here we go. Nope. Okay. And then... Whoa! That was fast, dude. That was fast. Dang. Huh. I wonder if that gets like a... It felt like a millisecond more than you get to react. Like your body is there. Well, like, I don't know. Maybe not. Tell you what, though. Space is pissing me off. Which means it's doing its job, I think. Whoop. That's not the one. It's over here, right? Yeah. And really, it's like, just wait the stuff out and shoot it down. Like, running in is kind of dumb. Not enough. Okay. Ooh, yeah, it goes through there. That's pretty good. That's got to go, man. That has got to go. Start using some of these as well. I think I want to do that. Just covering all your angles. Where's the last guy? Ah. And one down here. Ah, okay. Same here? No. Except for the... What the hell was that for? Just to make you walk a little further? It feels very trolly. Cool. I like this guy. It's fun. Very annoying base. Enjoyed it, though. I'm gonna give him a brutal fun. Oh, yeah, it's right up there. Very good, dude. Even that little lava thing that initially I was like, what the hell? He had the balls, or the bombs bouncing through that. That's pretty good. Well, hopefully that helped out a little bit. I feel like I was also vague while simultaneously not answering your question, but that's pretty much par for the course for me. So enjoy yourself. You're in for a lot of interesting times and a lot of fun times and a lot of hard times, but mostly they're fun. And don't let people who are like, "Oh, get your sleep now," or just wait until they start walking around. You know, every time, every phase, someone's complaining about something for you, and eventually you're like, it's not even like that. What's going on with you? That, you know, at the baby they're like, oh, you know, enjoy this, you're gonna miss these days, and you do. I will say there's another line real quick before I end this that is weirdly true and oddly, you know, applicable, and it's the, is it the days are long but the years are short? It does feel that way. Time does start appearing to move faster. Like they're, my kids are, you know, 7 and 6 or 8 and 6 now, and it is kind of like, man, I don't even remember like I remember in the moment being like, oh my god, this is taking so long. You know, they poop, you change your diaper, you feed them, you change. You know, it's just like, oh my god, a slog for real. Um, it went from like the maze bases where you're like, please get me out of here, to like the fun battle boxes, you know, where you're chopping stuff. You're like, yeah, you know, it goes that way. And you just got to put in the time, and the front end is harder, but the more front end work you do, the easier it gets and the better your kids get and the better you guys all get. It is hard, but if you can do the work on the front end, I'm telling you, it's cool because they become cool people, and there's less work for you to do because they're picking up slack and doing stuff on their own and making good choices. So hopefully that helps you. I found it to be a blast. There are some those people who warn you about those things kind of on the negative side, they are trying to help, but I do find a lot of it is like, you know, watch out, you know, they're sleeping now, you're gonna miss it, and then they're walking and they're like, wait until they can get out and really start getting up the stairs, then you're in trouble, and you're like, all right, like, are you gonna like give us some good stuff here? But there's tons, and I can promise you that. So just enjoy yourself, take time for you and your family and your kids, and you guys will be great.